This is an oral history interview conducted for the Witness to War Serving a Nation project at Nauset Regional High School on Cape Cod, Massachusetts. For the sake of this interview, please state your full name and community in which you now reside.
David Eastman, West Dennis, Massachusetts.
So, how did you end up on Cape Cod?
I grew up in Falmouth.
Did your family live here for a long time, like before you?
That's correct. They were already here.
Alright. And so, your brother inspired you to join the military, correct?
Along with 14 others.
And was that like a group thing? Did you all decide at once that you were going to join? Or
All of us joined the Navy in September of 1965.
did you know all the men that you joined with?
I did.
Were they close to you?
Well, different grades in high school, but the thing is, I knew of them. The bulk of the people came from the class of 65. I graduated class of 64.
Alright. And so, could you describe a typical day at sea in Vietnam when you were serving?
Right, because I was Blue Water Navy and electronics repair. Okay, we're a converted aircraft carrier, as the USS Annapolis. We served probably 30 to 50 days at sea at once, and a normal routine, obviously we're not gunfire support, we're communications, so usually our routine per day never changed. It was always the same.
And
Electronic repair.
so you just worked on like communication equipment thing?
That's correct. Yep, radars and transmitters and receivers.
So, how did your family members respond to you and your brother joining the military?
Favorably. We always had family support, plus no matter which family, because now I'm married, we have military members in the other family. So it's the in-laws were military, so was my family.
And how did your wife feel about you?
She
in the
supported
military?
me.
That's good.
Yeah.
What comes to your mind when you hear the word Vietnam or someone starts talking about the war?
Well, usually when they talk about it, it's usually negative. Okay, we did not have nationwide support at the time. It was an unfavorable war, and it was kind of a pull punches war, where the politicians told us, the military, what to do. All right, so we couldn't do what we wanted to do. We had to go with the guidelines set forth by the politicians.
And how did you feel about the way that the nation perceived this war and hated you guys pretty much?
Well, it was unfavorable, so obviously you came home, even though inside you had pride, you didn't really see support like you do today with the military. Today it's different. Then it was somewhat negative.
And was that difficult to deal with? Like
course.
coming home and people
Of
being
course.
harsh towards you?
Right, yeah. So a lot of times you never disclose that you had been part of the military.
And was there any point in the war that you ever thought about quitting and like going home, or
No.
did you have anything in particular that just kept you going?
Well, one is you're under a contract,
Right.
right? So you already know when you start,
Mhm.
you already know when you're leaving. And the thing is, if you want to leave, at least finish out your contract. Don't bail. Don't just walk off the job, because they're gonna come after you. You know, there's guidelines for you to stay.
All right. What is the fondest memory of you serving in the military?
Travel.
All the sights to see. and all that?
Everywhere. They sent me to Australia, they sent me to Singapore, they sent me to Japan, China, Germany, Bahrain, you know, stateside, the Philippines, Taiwan.
What was your favorite place that you were stationed?
Well,
Not
there's,
stationed, but sent or visited during your service.
as far as the Philippines,
Was
At
there
the
any,
time.
Is there any reason for that?
They were more receptive to the military there than some of the other places we went to. They were, obviously, ships have to come into port to be repaired. So anyways, they have a whole infrastructure where if we went to Hong Kong, it's a tourist area, but no ship services. So the Philippines is very good for repair, okay, but also rest and relaxation.
Was there
It was a
any,
big Navy base.
Was there any like time when your ship desperately needed to be repaired?
Oh, of course, yeah, because the ship never came back to the U.S. while I was there, and I was on for 2 years. And the thing is, you need to have repairs periodically, just like maintenance on a car. All right, you're always underway. You're always in seawater and metal. They're two different things. So finally, when we pulled into Japan in September of '68, we went into dry dock. So we're going to be there for the winter. Major repair. We couldn't live aboard the ship.
And what were the friendships that you had with some of the men that you fought
Still
with?
have today, after 50 years.
Do you guys
Still
like
call.
to enjoy each other's company?
Yep. Yep, I can make a phone call today.
And when was the last time that you talked to anybody that you served with?
Probably within 6 weeks.
Do you ever like recollect about the war?
Oh, all the time, all the
So-
time. Yeah, because it's a camaraderie. It's just like you being on a hockey team. You know, you're gonna move forward with those friendships, even though you may not see that individual, but you're still gonna have those special moments, good or bad, with those individuals that you played sports with.
Do you ever at all miss the war and serving with?
Well, no, I miss the military.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The military and
Yeah.
like the brotherhood and all that.
Yeah, because I still liaison with the recruiters right now and Mass Maritime to make sure they get the word out. They wanna meet people like yourself. I wanna make sure they know about it, all right? Because some people are new to the Cape Cod, all right? So the recruiters don't know where these places are. I wanna make sure I'll go with them. You know, like Mass Maritime, we just had a career fair. I brought the Air Force guy. He had never been on campus before. Okay? Same thing with the new Air Force recruiter, Hyannis. He's brand new, 2 months. He's probably yet to show up to your school, but he will. Yeah.
So what was it like when you arrived in Vietnam or like in the waters around Vietnam?
Well, because the ship was already at sea and I was in the Philippines, the Navy has transportation, logistics, so I was taken out to my ship by another ship, stayed on there for a week, okay, and they flew me on board by helicopter.
And were you?
Pretty different.
Could you describe your emotional like state when
Well,
you were
it's
deployed?
overwhelming because, I'm from Falmouth, all right? So all of a sudden you're in a big ship and it's getting underway with a lot of people you don't know. And you're probably never gonna see them again because they're just the host ship. They're gonna be sending us over by helicopter to my ship. See you later. Yeah, it's overwhelming to see what they do logistically.
Could you describe your thoughts or feelings when you switched over from the Navy to the Air Force?
I want to stay. However, they said you have to go. All right, because at the time I had been in too long, okay, and I hadn't moved up pay grade wise, so they had a plan for getting you out. But I already knew the career path was there with the Air Force. It was seamless. So one day I'm in the Air Force, the day prior I left the Navy. All right, and I stayed with the Air Force 10 more years. Whereas in the Navy, October of '97, I would have been home.
So what made you want to keep going in the military?
I still had something to give.
Oh, so you felt there was more in your
Yep.
tank for your country?
Yep, of course, yeah.
So what was like,
And different military, so it's different training, different personnel, different mindset.
what were your thoughts on Vietnam before you were actually like deployed over there?
Scared. Yeah, because you don't know what's gonna go on. You don't know when you go in, where they're gonna send you. You only hear usually bad things. You know, it's a lot like, you're gonna go there and party, you know, you're gonna be drinking a lot of beer, you're gonna be chasing all those women. Well, that's not true. You know, yeah, so nobody wants to go into a hot zone because because if you watch The American Sniper, but the thing is today, the majority of the people that go on deployment come home. Very small don't, very small percent.
And so how many years were you actually like involved in the military or enlisted?
31.
Did it feel like 31 years to you or
It
did
went by
kinda,
fast. Yeah, it went by fast.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, that's in the brochure.
Did you collect any like accolades in the military? Were you awarded anything?
Yeah, if you have the brochure, I'll show you. Yeah. And believe it or not, okay, here's my ribbons. And they're all annotated, and the device.
Is that like the thing you have on your chest?
Ribbons, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, meaning if I wore a uniform today, I'm authorized to wear these. Okay, but also there's other things, because you've done your service, all right? So in here is I'll just show you because I photocopied it. At the time when I left, Bush 43 was the president. He sent a sincere letter of appreciation.
That's pretty
President Bush,
impressive.
of course, right?
Mhm.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Yep,
And thank you.
sure.
So, did you ever get like angry during the war and felt that the U.S. like wasn't doing enough, or
The Navy's different.
so did you ever like not agree with what you were doing?
No, total support. Yeah, because our ship was support. You know, it's not firing weapons. It's not like the battleships firing. You know, it's communication support.
And you said you had 2 daughters, right?
Yep.
How were they affected by you being in the military?
They knew at times I would not be home. All right, and because there's 8 years between them. All right, so one was, you know, 8, the other one was 0. But they always knew to be in the reserves, and they always knew at some point I'm going to have to leave. It could be any time during the year. It could be in the summer. It could be in the winter. It could be globally, or it could be Newport. Not necessarily they're going to send you somewhere.
Did you think about joining the military before your brother convinced you to?
No, I was working in Boston.
Do you know what convinced him to join the military?
His other friends, because he played a varsity sport at the time, so a lot of those guys joined with him, or he joined with them. Because when I joined, I took 3 other guys with me from different classes.
So when you joined, you tried to get other people to join with
And
you
they did.
too?
And they did, right. And we just had our 50th reunion in Falmouth. It was in Cape Cod Times. You can look it up if you want. There were 9 of us out of 16, 50 years later, in front of the same building in Falmouth that we started, the library. Yeah, and it was right around Labor Day this year in Falmouth. Yeah.
So if someone were to come to you and ask you what you thought about them joining the military, what would you have to say?
Well, it's not for everybody, okay? Because the Navy, the military is going to look at you. They're going to be checking financial records, medical, your police reports, your credit files, your dental, your home life. If you're a single parent with a child, you're not really going to go, because who's going to take the child when you leave, right? So there's always these guidelines. There's so many guidelines that they have. You have to just check them off as you go down. You know, if there's a surgery where, you know, as a child, you know, but does it affect you today, many years later? Maybe not, but they're going to be looking at it.
All right, and was there any like day that was just really negative while you were overseas?
Not really, no. No. In port or at sea, no, definitely not. We had a good team working together, and we worked hard and we played hard.
So, did you ever wish that you were like closer to Vietnam, like brown water instead of blue?
Not really. No, my brother was brown water. So anyways, his ship's mission was to pull up on the beach and take the cargo off the ship onto the beach. So they always were wary of being obviously shot at or bombed. All right, we weren't. We were off the coast. Seldom did we see land. We're that far off. And at the time, Vietnam didn't really have a big Navy at all. We did.
So it was kind of
It was really
much
yeah.
safer to be blue water.
Or in the Navy, and the thing is, the Marines and the Army had it the toughest.
How often did you interact with the Marines or the Army?
0
At all?
at all. No.
Did you help with their communications, or did they have their
Nope,
own
just
guys doing
Navy
that?
shipboard and shoreside stations. Yeah, because at the time, our ship was on the cutting edge at the time of technology. We had the first satellite communication link. Look where it is today, right? I'm gonna go home and watch TV, comes in from a satellite. Our ship had the first one. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What was the most difficult thing that you had to do while you were overseas? Like task or something you had to say to someone?
Nope. And the thing is, the military always has somebody with you, like a shadow or a shipmate or a wingman. You're never put out there alone. So if there's some, you know, because if we're building pallets to send cargo onto an airplane, you're not the only one building the pallet. There may be 4 or 5, because safety is paramount. Safety gear is paramount. You know, you've got the proper working environment and the material to work with, and you're never left alone. There's always at least 1 or 2 people with you.
So I guess what I'm asking is, what is the most difficult thing, like maybe your ship as a whole ever had to do? Like,
No, we were auxiliary to pick up survivors in the water because of a plane crash from a carrier. Okay, we were put on standby, even though physically we didn't pick up the individual, we're still out there looking. It was auxiliary or support, I should say, yeah.
And so how has serving in Vietnam affected your life today?
Well, it's more, how's the military affected my life?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in a positive way.
In a positive way? So,
Of course, yeah, because look what I do today.
Mhm.
Look at the stuff that I learned there, and what I'd like to impress with you, because I know you're only about 14, 15, both of you, right?
Mhm.
So anyways, you are the ones that usually calls me, right?
Yes.
So anyways, every military has core values, okay, meaning duty, honor, country is the Army, okay, duty, honor, commitment is the Navy, Air Force is integrity, excellence, and service, all right? So if you call me and you say you'll call me Wednesday at 3 o'clock and you don't, you lack integrity.
Yeah.
But you're young, you'll learn, okay? So if you say I'll be here at 1 and you're not, see what I mean? Because the military runs on timetables. Usually with military, if they say 1 o'clock, which is 1300, I'm gonna meet you at 1300 or 1 o'clock, usually you're there 15 minutes in advance. Because you're early, and that's good, okay? But if you're gonna be late, a courtesy call, like I called you, I'm already here, we're on the way, that's good, okay? So if you make a commitment, because our word is our bond, if you say you're gonna do something, because I write it down, that's right, I gotta be somewhere, you know what I mean? And I've delivered pizza today to a True Value, because every year at this time, I bring them a free pizza. But I gotta remember, I gotta get out of there because I'm gonna be meeting the two of you. See what I mean? So your word is your bond. If you put it out there that you're gonna do something, you follow through. Or call. I can't make it. My car, you know, whatever. So the Air Force, integrity. Integrity is big with the military.
so you
Very
think
important.
you think that a lot of the values that you learned really helped you for the rest of your life?
Definitely, yep. Attention to detail, you know, because my daughter, Mass Maritime, she didn't think it was that tough, and yet some people quit because they can't take it. So she being in that military mindset, always with me, you know, we would say something the night before, do you wanna have breakfast in the morning, away from the house? Yes. I said, well, you're AIS, you're ass in the seat at 7 AM, none of the 7:05 stuff. If you say yes, I'm gonna get you up, and we're out the door at 7. We can be
So-
early.
Do you think that some of your values that you had learned kind of rubbed off on your family?
Oh, definitely, sure, yeah.
So it taught them a better way of life too?
I think so, yeah, because now that they're older, and you'll find out that pretty soon your parents are gonna be, not your parents, they're gonna be your friends and counselors and mentors and advice givers. They're gonna stop parenting at some point, okay? Maybe when you go to college, you're really gonna be on your own. You're gonna find out that some of their values have already rubbed off on you.
And your family, you said they supported you, right?
Of course,
Were you allowed to like communicate with them during your service?
mail only.
Mail only?
Yeah, we didn't have no cell phone. This is mid-60s, you know?
So was that tough on you?
No, it was good because while at sea, to receive mail, because obviously the mail is gonna come by helicopter, okay, or by ship. All right, because the logistics, you know, global logistics with the military is unbelievable. Today it's obviously different. So when you see the ship come alongside and they're gonna be giving you food, supplies, fuel, okay, you know at some point those mail bags are gonna be coming in, you're looking, all right? You write, you're gonna get something back. See what I mean? And just recently, my sister, who I wrote to, she gave me all my letters from the military. And it's good to go back through because it can tell me what I was doing at the time, where I was, okay, that sort of thing. Yeah, whole 2 years worth of you know, today it would be email or texting or something like that, but she gave me 2 years worth of letters. And she kept them. Yeah,
That's pretty
I
good.
like that,
So what do you think of like the military nowadays?
More educated. They request volunteers, there's no draft, and they're filling their quotas, meaning people want to go in the military.
So could you describe how you feel about like some of the operations they do and how it's different from when you were there?
Well, totally different because we were engaged, and the thing is today we've got these little splinter groups, you know, like ISIS and the stuff in Afghanistan and Iraq, and they're really not a military, okay, and yet they have devastating results. So we have to have that mindset. The Marines are in the desert, but their real job is at sea. Marines. Marine means water, you know what I mean? And they're over in the desert, which is good. But the thing is, they're trying to get back into their roots, and you can't because they're on deployment in the deserts, you know. Marines, they're good. They're good at what they do. Yeah.
So if you were to rejoin the military, if you were obviously younger and back
Yeah.
in your prime,
Yeah.
which branch do you think you would enroll in?
Navy,
Again?
again.
You love that?
There's so many different things going on with the Navy. It's funny, and you know, I don't know which is on your schedule today, but the thing is, I'm going to go home and watch something on the Smithsonian Channel, and it's called Hero Ship. All right, Hero Ship. All right, because when the Twin Towers came down, okay, they took structural steel and they actually put some of the structural steel into the new Navy ships, and the one is the USS New York, and they put over 7 tons of steel in the bow.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's coming on at 3 o'clock today. Smithsonian.
So in that pamphlet you showed us all your ribbons.
Yep.
Like, what does each one of those mean? Do you have to work your way to earn them?
You definitely do.
Is
One
it almost
is,
like a Boy Scout badge kind of thing?
it is, but sometimes just by being in the military, they're gonna give you a ribbon, just by being in the military. So there's actual ribbons, then there's commemorative ribbons. Commemorative means, have you ever served in the military from 1776 to present? Yeah. Have you ever been aboard a ship? Yeah. Were you honorably discharged? Yeah. Those are commemorative. The other ones are different, and they're all described in that pamphlet, what they are.
Which ribbon are you most proud of?
Believe it or not, the top ribbon, I'll show it to you if you give me the handbook.
All
The
right.
top ribbon, I had to retire to get it, okay, because there's a precedence in ribbons, no matter which military. All right, so this is number 1, all right. See if I can find it. This one here, and meritorious service, right there. Of all the ribbons, okay, before you get to this one, there's 6 of them, like Purple Heart, Medal of Valor, those things, okay. This is, I'm not disabled, all right, so I'm not a Purple Heart. So anyways, this one comes up real fast because they're all pictures in colors. So if you go from top left down to the least, okay, you're gonna find this one. This one's really top, distinguished service, and I got that upon my retirement.
And so, could you explain what that means?
Yep, and there's supporting documentation in it. Okay, because they had to do a little write-up on it. Again, it might take me a minute to find it.
It's fine.
Yep. Right here. Okay? And they give the description, what I did, and they said, yeah, I think he's an outstanding airman, and he's about to retire. He's got 30 years of military service at the time.
Would you mind reading that out loud for us?
Yeah, I'll try.
Thank you.
Yep. Because again, it was given to me on the day I retired. All right. Meritorious Service Medal to Technical Sergeant David Eastman for meritorious service, 2 October 97 to 2/28 March 2006. Tech Sergeant David Eastman distinguished himself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as cargo processing craftsman, 85th Aerial Port, Hanscom Air Force Base, Massachusetts. During this period, Sergeant Eastman's exceptional dedication and tremendous energy was demonstrated while assigned as team chief during several mission support team taskings at Westover Air Reserve Base, Massachusetts. He directly contributed to the safe and efficient movement of over 70 tons of cargo during 30 critical airlift missions. Sergeant Eastman also provided outstanding support while deployed on annual tour to Norfolk Naval Air Station, Virginia in May 2005, coordinated the expeditious transportation of 200 pallets totaling over 780 tons of cargo while assigned as team chief for cargo processing. He provided critical air transportation standardization evaluation training for 12 assigned cargo personnel, leading newly assigned airmen and mentoring by example. His experience was critical to the unit's successful deployment of 39 airport personnel in support of Operations Iraqi and Enduring Freedom in 2004. He singly distinguished accomplishments of Sergeant Eastman, culminated his distinguished career in the service of his country, and reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. And it's signed by Major General James Bankers, Commander, 22nd Air Force.
That's very
It's pretty
impressive.
good, right? Yeah, but I had to retire to get it.
That's kind of tricky.
Yeah, on the way out the door, here, by the way. Yeah. See what I mean?
So that's the one you're most proud of?
Yeah, because otherwise, what was it gonna, as far as ribbons, et cetera, because they have precedence, the highest is the closest to the heart on the top left, looking at it, closest to the heart, and then it
Right.
goes,
So you felt that you deserved that?
unexpected,
Unexpected, but
right.
when you got it, you felt that you deserved it.
Yeah, but I read, between the lines, and I'm thinking, I thought I did other stuff, but this is good, okay, but I thought I did other stuff that also warranted a write-up in that documentation.
Is there another ribbon that you found that was special to you? That was like not just something they give out for being on a ship?
Well, the thing is, because I've got two meritorious battle E's, okay, the ship and its crew was awarded that, meaning if you were assigned at the time, they have cutoff dates, start and end, okay, if you're a part of the crew and the ship gets the ribbon, in this case the battle E, you get it. The ship gets it, you're attached to the command, you get it also because you're part of the whole picture. So two different ships, the one in Vietnam got the battle E and also the one in Newport, 20 years apart. But the ships and the crew I was part of was awarded the Meritorious Service Medal.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's in there.
And
who would have thought that I was shoot expert, okay, never fired a weapon in anger. Everybody has to be weapons qualified. Rifle and pistol, two different things, okay? So at the time, because you're always gonna be shooting yearly for qualifications, all right? So I fired an M16 expert, probably not today, vision, and 9mm Beretta expert, probably not today.
So although you never had to use it, you still were.
Everybody has to qualify, right?
And you took it above and beyond, and you were an
That's
expert?
right, because you can, it's marksman, sharpshooter, expert.
And what does it take to like climb up? Like what do you have to accomplish while holding that weapon to?
Well, you've got to be able to sight in, okay? You have to focus because the target could be downrange. We had one person, okay, I'm gonna just say, they've got 10 rounds to fire. So everybody on the same thing is doing the same thing, 10 rounds to fire. So this girl over here, for some reason, out of 10 rounds, she has 12 rounds in her target. The person over here only has 8. See what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. It comes back with 12 rounds in it. I only fired 8, or something like that. The other girl got a little confused,
So who had like the most impact on you while you were in the service or in the military? Like,
well, the guy that I still contact with, like 6 weeks ago, he and I have a 50-year history. He was instrumental because he came aboard friendly, but he was more technologically advanced. Okay, so he was kind of like my mentor.
and what's his name?
Rick Hilton.
Was he above you in the rankings?
Nope, same thing.
Wow, so
Yep.
you were equal?
But I got out, he stayed. He
How
got
does-
out,
How does that work?
I
Didn't you
came
say-
back,
Oh,
right?
so why did they end up forcing you out? Or not forcing
No,
you?
well, because before you're about to get out of the military, because everybody knows when you're leaving, because somebody's in charge of that, all right? So somebody knows, so they're gonna talk to you before you get out. Do you wanna stay? Yes or no? All right, I said no. Bye-bye. All right, because look where I am, all right? I wanna go home. But the thing is, I was out, and again, once you get out, again, people get your name, all right? This guy's already been in. What if we just call him or write to him, see if he's interested? You talk to 10 people, 3 are interested, 1 joins. That's success. All right, 10-3-1, all right? So the guy got a hold of me out of New Bedford, okay? And he said, I know you've been out 8 to 9 years. Would you like to come back? And I said, yeah, I would. and I was married at the time with a child.
And so how did your wife know you when you first were enlisted?
Nope, I was totally out. I was using the GI Bill, Cape Cod Community College. She and I met. I was the president of the sailing club.
And so that was the first, when you re-enlisted, that's when,
First
that was
time.
the first time she saw you go?
Yep, we were married in 75. I rejoined in 78. Right. And a lot of the stuff you already have in your background, you don't have to go back and do it. Boot camp, you've already done it. Why do you have to go back? Uniforms, they've changed, okay, but they're gonna give you all new stuff. See what I mean?
Mhm.
And basically, once you're in, we don't do that anymore. We do this, that sort of thing.
When you re-enlisted, did all your ribbons come with you back in?
Of course, right.
So that goes onto your other uniform, out
That's
of your Air
correct.
Force?
That's correct. And they have reciprocal agreements where if you've earned the ribbons in one service, they're okay to wear with the other service. Because they're all generic. But obviously, some are very specific, meaning the Sea Service ribbon, you don't see that in the Air Force. Air Force training ribbon, you don't see that in the Navy.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you said you would want, if you were gonna rejoin, you would want to join the Navy again?
Yeah.
Is there any like part that you would want to, you know how there's like the Navy SEALs? Do you have any particular,
I would want a seagoing billet on a ship.
so what does that mean, on a ship?
On a ship, seagoing billet. Yeah, you get two things. Ashore or afloat.
Mm-hmm.
I want it in a float command, even though the ship may not leave, because, you know, the ship here stayed a lot of times in Newport. But we would get underway while we're down there. Usually, if the ship allowed us as far as their training schedule, okay, we'd get underway, because you're a sailor. If you get underway, you're gonna be learning more things than if you're just reading a book or staying in port. Let's get underway.
Yep. So, bottom line, you would do it all again?
Do it again, yep, in a heartbeat. And I still enjoy liaison between all the military recruiters in Hyannis and Mass Maritime. And I'll be there Mass Maritime next Saturday to see the ship get underway.
So did your upbringing have anything to do with,
No,
I know you said you weren't very interested.
no, it was my brother who joined, and he said, "What are you doing?" So I told him. And he said, "Well, we're going, you know, and we're on a delayed entry program. They signed up in May, they have to go by a certain date in September, 120 days. I joined in July, I went in September. We all left together.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for meeting us. And
Is this
thank
pretty
you.
good?
Yep.
Yeah.
You
Thank
can
you
do a
very-
follow-up, you know that.
Yep.
Because next time we meet, I'll wear the uniform.
Yeah.
Thank you very
What
much
the hell,
for your
right?
service.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
thank you so much.
Don't be afraid. That's what I tell them. That's what I told my daughter. Okay, stay